Welcome to the second week of the Synergy Speaker Series. Today we have actually a panel of speakers. As usual, we have our guidance counselor, Ed Figueroa, here. But we also have two leaders from across our district, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves in a moment. They're here for a very important reason. We're going to talk about identity today. As you've been studying in your AB class this week, identity is very crucial to you figuring out what's the best job for you, what's the best future for you. So our panel today is going to help you think about it. They're going to talk a little bit about their story, but more importantly, give you an opportunity to pick their brain, ask them questions, so you can leave here in a better place than when you walked in the door. So Laura?
Hi, my name is Laura White. I'm the supervisor for Fine and Performing Arts for the entire district. So in a nutshell, what I do is I supervise all the art and music teachers in town. I try to help them learn strategies to be better teachers in the classroom. And I also use their experiences to try to be a better leader so that they give you the best education possible in your classrooms.
And I'm Michelle Bigu. I'm the department head for career and technical education for middle school and high school, and I do the same things for the career and tech ed teachers that Ms. White does for the art and music teachers. So career and tech ed is, I like to say, they're all the classes that you want to take, not all the ones that you have to take. And you're the ones that want to take. So it's the classes that help you find your passion, find out what you like to do, what you might want to do in your future as a career, technology education, business education, family and consumer science, health occupations, those kinds of classes. So it's the really fun ones that we like to take. Not that English and math aren't also fun and you like to take, but you know. So that's what I do.
Principal Alhouse invited me to talk to you guys today about identity. I wanted to share my story with you because I think it's rather unique, and I don't think that you guys often have the opportunity to see, especially a woman of color, to talk about their leadership roles in a school system. I grew up in New York in a very suburban area, and my parents, I'm the first American to my family, so my parents are from Jamaica. My two sisters were born there as well. They came here and they wanted to have a better life for the kids in the family, so they moved here. They moved to New York and started raising their children there. As I went through school, I wanted to play an instrument. I started in about 3rd grade and I said to myself, I want to play the violin. And of course, all the shiny little instruments that are in front of me, the only choice I had was the violin. I did that for a year and I thought to myself, I sound horrific. I cannot play the violin. This is not going to work out. But I knew I still loved music and I needed something else. I loved to sing. I loved to do all those other things, but the choir didn't have a place for me. The choir was just, there were so many people in the choir. I just kind of hid in the corner. I didn't really want to be the solo singer. I just wanted to do music in some sort of capacity. I went home and I said, Mom, I want to play the flute. She told me absolutely not, because we have a clarinet sitting underneath the bed, and you're going to pull that out, and let's see if you can play the clarinet. All right. So the first day with the clarinet, I hated the thing. I was like, I sound horrible. I can't do this. My fingers were tiny. Do you guys all know what a clarinet looks like? It's that long black instrument with the big ugly thing on the bottom, and that's not a cute instrument for a girl. It's just not. I don't want to play the clarinet. I want to play the flute. So my parents were like, you told me you want to play an instrument. This is the one we have in the house. You're going to play it. Can't argue with them. So I just kind of said, fine. Then something amazing happened. Kind of liked the clarinet after the first year. I had a teacher, Mr. Kellerman, I still remember him, in 5th grade, who was, you know, kind of funny looking. He wore his pants up to his armpits, and he was kind of quirky and so different. But he said to me, I think you got something going for you. And I said, but I want to play the flute. This is just not really great. And he's like, I still think this clarinet is going to work out for you. Went to middle school, I was still playing the clarinet. Went to high school, was still playing the clarinet. And before you know it, I said to myself, I think I want to be like Mr. Kellerman. I think I want to be a music teacher. And my band teacher was kind of like, that would be great for you to be a music ed major if you want to go to college for music. You have to audition, you have to prepare all this music and go in front of a lot of people, and you have to perform all the time. Is that something you really want to do? And I said, no, but if that's what it takes to be a music teacher, then I guess I have to sign up for it. So I auditioned at a bunch of schools, and my parents basically said, you're going to the school that gives you the most money, so figure it out. I was fortunate enough to get a full scholarship at the University of Hartford, and that's how I moved to Connecticut. So I went to the Hart School of Music, and it was interesting walking in there. I came from a predominantly white neighborhood, and I was probably one of the maybe 20 black students in a school of about 3,000 in New York from a high school. So I was not with people who looked like me. So when I went to music school, that changed dramatically. We had so many different people from different countries, different walks of life, who grew up 5 miles away from University of Hartford, who grew up 5,000 miles from University of Hartford. And ironically, I wanted to play the clarinet, but I wanted to play classical music. As soon as they looked at me, oh, are you a singer? No, I'm not a singer. I actually play the clarinet, and I play classical music. What, you don't sing? No, I don't sing. I actually like to play the clarinet now. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is the way that you are sometimes perceived is so much more than what they think you are. So just because I was a female when I was young, I wanted to play the flute because all the girls played the flute. My teacher pushed me, and he's like, you can be good at something else. And I ended up being good at something else. Then I went to music school and college, and everybody thought I was a singer because, I was a black girl. I have to have a beautiful voice because I am, a woman of color. Wow, you have to sing. But I actually play clarinet very well in a classical orchestra. So after I finished school there, I was really, really fortunate that I got hired day one to teach in East Hartford High School. So I was 23, right out of college, high school band director, which are often male figures. So that was really intimidating, walking into a position that's often dominated by males. As a female high school band director, only 23 years old, I had students who had siblings who were older than me. How was I going to manage? 11 years later, you can do the math with how old I am. 11 years later, I am here now as the supervisor for fine and performing arts. I ended up going back to college. I went to UConn and did my administrator certificate, and then I ended up applying for a leadership role. And I think that the thing that kept me focused and driven was that I was not married, or I didn't allow anybody to make me conform to a stereotype by the way that I looked, or my age, or where I came from. It was something that I loved to do over time. Someone gave me a chance to experience something new, something I didn't really want to do, and it really provided me with an opportunity to change, or hopefully change some of the opinions or some of the stereotypes that you face as being who you are in just your skin. So I guess I'm going to stop there because I know that you guys have questions, or you've prepared questions, but that's just a little bit about myself. I'll share a little story with you, just again. Several years ago, probably early on, in my role here, I traveled to all the different schools in the district. I went to Sunset Ridge once, and I walked into my art teacher's classroom, and a little girl looks up at me, and she is thrilled, and she goes, "Wow, you look like Michelle Obama." Do I look anything like Michelle Obama? No, I don't think so. However, you think a little bit? No, really? I think I'm prettier, to be honest with you. But I just, what it made me think, and it's kind of sad but good at the same way. I was wearing a suit that day. I had a presentation I was doing for staff. And I think the reason why she thought I looked like was Michelle Obama. Can anybody guess it? Because of my color, and I was in a suit. I was in a suit. How many women of color or minority women do you see dressed in a suit? What figures do you see in a suit? What's that? Some men. Most men, right? But, you know, so it was just, it's different. And that's one thing I celebrate in this district, and I love about this district, is that you guys do get to see those things happen. And I hope more, you know, when her life continues, I hope that she sees more women and more minority women in leadership roles, in a suit, and things like that. So she doesn't just associate a woman in a suit as Michelle Obama. Do you see where I'm going with that? Okay? Michelle, you wanna?
I don't have a story like that. I'm a white woman. So, as you can see, so the relationship with identity and, you know, white people who grow up especially in Connecticut, are privileged just because of color. And we don't get judged in the same way that people of color do. So I don't have that type of story. But what I would just talk about with you guys in terms of identity and finding yourself is to make sure you listen to yourself and sort of tune out all the other people around you and pay more attention to what your own spirit and your own passions are telling you about what you might want to do with your future. There's a lot of people who tell you what to do now because in school, you know, you have to go to school, you have to go to this class, you have to do this homework, you know, maybe you have to get a job. But pretty soon, you're going to be making those decisions all by yourself. You're going to be determining what you do with your time, what type of job you get, if you're going to pursue education, and you're going to be making those decisions all by yourself. So if you're too accustomed to listening to all the other noise around you right now, and friends and peers and bullies and the wrong influences, then you're not going to be in tune with yourself enough so that when all of those voices go away, and they will, those friends won't be friends necessarily in 5 years or 2 years, those enemies won't be there anymore, those bullies will be gone, and you'll just have yourself to listen to. And so you've got to find out your own identity and whether you are going to be strong enough to take what you've learned about yourself and move that forward for the rest of your life. I mean, you're going to be relying on yourself soon. You're going to have to make your own way in this world with your job, with your values, with your relationships, with significant others, with whether you want to have a family, what kind of family. And so if you find out what your passions are, then pursue those. And 9 times out of 10, that passion, that hobby, can turn into a career in one way, shape, or form. So if you're an artist or a musician, music was her passion. She turned that into a career. I loved science. When I was in school and in college, I loved science. I loved the human body. And I thought I was going to go into medicine and turn my love of science into a career. But I quickly found out that I didn't want to go into the medical. I found teaching sort of a weird way, but that, I love doing that. Now I also have another passion of writing, and I'm an author, and I'm writing novels, and it's not my career. I'm not making money at it, but it's a passion, and I do it because it brings me joy. It's not going to pay my bills, but it brings me the joy inside, and that makes me happy. And so maybe your passion isn't necessarily going to be your career, but it should still be part of your life. You know, Miss White could have easily been a lawyer, let's say, or a doctor, but music still would be a part of her life because that brings her happiness. And so she would find a way to still do that. So as you're in school here, explore options of coursework, classes, hobbies. There's a lot more resources online now than we ever used to have back when we were your age. And if you're not sure what your passion is, then be creative and go and experiment with hobbies or taking a class or talking to other people, interviewing what's your passion, what do you do, and networking with people, because you never know, you might find something next week you never knew you could develop a passion about, and that could end up moving you towards a particular career path. So that's what I would have to say about identity and your passion, is you have to really listen to your heart and listen to what you like to do and what you're good at, and finding a way to develop that into something that can move you forward in a career. Because when you're working, we work long hours, right? If you don't like what you do when you're working, you're going to lead a miserable life. Because yes, it pays the bills, but if you don't like what you do on a daily basis, think of how many hours people you know who are working right now, your family, your friends. If you're miserable 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, that's a miserable life. It really is. So when people say, I'm going to go get a job because it pays well, it doesn't matter what it pays. It really doesn't if you're miserable. You can find a way to do what you like and find a way to pay the bills. So don't just go searching for the money route. Find something that can make you happy in both ways. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy. You have to be happy. Do you guys have any questions or comments, or any of you have a particular passion you would like to see? What kind of career would, I mean, what are your passions? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I like to physical, like sports, and sometimes I like to jump.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of opportunity in the sports world, not necessarily for just the players, but sports announcers and sports writers and sports marketing and sports management. I mean, and physical therapists and sports athletic trainers. And so sports, there's so much out there that could be a career. A lot of teenagers, a lot of people your age, especially the boys mostly, you know, oh, I'm going to be a pro basketball, I'm going to be a pro football, I'm going to be a pro soccer, I'm going to be a pro something. You know what? You're not. You're probably not. I mean, think of the percentage of high school students who make it to the pros. But if sports is a passion, there's so many ways you can get involved in sports and still stay connected to the sport you love, or and do that as a job, and be the manager of the team you love, or be the sportscaster for the sport you love, or be a writer for Sports Illustrated for the sport you love. So there's still ways to find a career for the passion you like, even if it might not be your first choice. What about you?
I do a lot of stuff outdoors.
Like?
What?
Oh,
Do you run? Do you bike? Do you swim? Do you?
just athletic stuff like riding bikes, basketball,
Right.
stuff like that.
And similar to what Michelle was saying before, or
Having
Ms.
fun.
Vigu was saying
Going on
before,
trips.
have fun going on trips. She was saying how her new passion is writing. You could do that outside of the work day as well. You know, but when you guys choose what it is that you want to focus on, you know, the biggest thing I think that, or biggest piece of advice, is being able to focus on a goal, commit to it, and while you might get shaken off the path and go different routes, still having that one goal in sight really makes it worth it. When we talk about passion, we think of the quality of your life ahead of you. School is not your life. That's the end, you know, it stops eventually. Learning never stops, but school, it stops. And you have to focus yourself and focus your time to say to yourself, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be married to this goal. When I told my parents I wanted to be a musician, they laughed. And they said, how do you expect to pay the bills? And I said, oh, maybe I should think about that a little bit more. And I did do, or I am doing what I love But when I refer to did, teaching was really the way in. And it kept me focused. And I said I wanted to be a teacher, period.
And you also played in
West Hartford Symphony. So I've played in groups and things like that, but I still loved to teach, and my quality of life was fabulous because I could do that. And I like outdoors, believe it or not. I go running, biking. I'm a gym rat. I love the gym. And it's fun to have that balance because I can use my hobbies as a way to escape some of the pressures that come with a career.
So Michelle and Laura have thrown a lot at you, some really important information as you're thinking and framing your own identity. What have they said in the 15, 20 minutes that they've been speaking that is most meaningful to you? Or what's a quote or an example or something that you're still thinking about? It made an impression. And if you don't mind, if you can kind of just walk over closer to the camera so we can pick up your audio, that would be fabulous. Thanks, Brandon.
Ms. White said that not letting the color of her skin affect what she wanted to do with her life, and kind of stuff with me.
And so I'll ask a follow-up question. Brandon, you can jump in, or Laura, or Michelle. So we're all here in a school, and so education is fundamental to what we're doing. And I've often thought, looking around our building, what does our teaching staff, what do our teachers, what do our support staff look like in terms of identity? And how is it, when you look at our student body, is it similar to our staff or not? Many moons ago when I was studying this for my master's degree, I was very interested in elementary education, and there was an absence of males.
Yeah.
Most of you probably didn't see a male teacher until probably 4th, 5th, or 6th grade.
Yeah.
Look around our building, and so look around our district, and we actually were at an admin retreat or advance in the spring, and we actually had a principal who actually since retired who raised this very question. It was a principal of color, looked around the room and said, look at how many people of color are actually in this room. And there were 4. And you had,
40
plus
Yeah.
other administrators. And so my question to you, to Brandon, to anybody, so what do we do in education to encourage more males to enter education or more people of color to enter leadership positions? Is there something that we can be doing within our high school that can help change that? Because I listened to Laura's story and I think it's extremely powerful. And I think, how many kids don't even say what that student was thinking? And how many students are looking for a role model that doesn't exist? And it's something that maybe we can do something about. So any thoughts on that? Go ahead.
I feel like the AD program we have in this high school is like it really helps us with our leadership things, like the activities to like help us bring us together, like it helps us problem solve on certain situations.
Okay. Other thoughts?
Mariah, you look like you're dying to say something.
I mean, the AD program does help us out. It helps us communicate with other students that we wouldn't usually talk to and say things that we wouldn't usually say.
Can you tell us what the AB program is?
I don't know.
Above and beyond? Okay.
It helps me a lot because I'm really shy. I have a lot to say, but I don't say it. I don't know what to say.
I could see it on your face.
Yeah.
Great. Crystal, anything to add? No? Are you a part of the Above and Beyond program as well? What is your favorite experience in there? Did they do a particular activity?
Yeah, we do a lot of activities in there. And I like it because we all work together.
Oh, okay.
So teamwork, you like teamwork? A
No.
lot of job opportunities and a lot of job requirements need teamwork. So if you like that and you're good at that, that will serve you well.
Michelle and I share an office. And I asked her to come today because I was kind of nervous. I was like, I'm speaking to students I don't know. Will you come?
She asked me to just come and watch.
Just to watch, but I roped her into participating. I'm good like that. And we work very, very well together. There's a dinner that she'll do in the spring, and she's like, I have some ideas. Let's work on it together. So, that's a very big part of our roles as leaders, that we often partner with our colleagues to make things as best as they can be.
Right. And that in any, whether you're working from McDonald's to Subway to a school system to politics, teamwork and collaboration and being able to communicate with lots of different types of people is one of the key factors that you'll find moving forward once you leave high school. If you can communicate your ideas and thoughts, then you will go far in this world. And so you're going to practice. It's more difficult for shy people, but it does, just like, you know, in sports, when you're practicing your jump shot, you do it over and over and over and over, you get better at it. Practicing communicating with people, you get better at it over time, so you can overcome that shyness.
Any other questions or thoughts? You know, something that really you want to continue to think about or talk about, or you can't wait for your peers to see this video, if there's a video, next week. And again, if someone has a question or has a comment, if you could just go over and stand near the phone, that would be great.
Nate, you're all the way over there.
We got to give at least one more. We can't let him off the hot seat with just a couple.
No?
Do you have another question, or we'll close with Brandon.
Ms. White said that she does mentoring for music and art. So I wanted to know how she gets into the art field of it.
Oh, that's actually a very good question. When I interviewed for this position, it was made clear that I would have to supervise both departments. The arts, in a nutshell, music and visual arts, are very interconnected, as I'm sure most of you realize. They have artistic processes, which means creating artwork or creating a type of music, performing, that means displaying your artwork or performing a piece of music, and then responding, that just means talking about it. So I was very confident, obviously, in the music side, but the visual arts side, primarily what I did was I relied on my teachers to teach me. My teachers are phenomenal, and I'm going to say this on record, that they are the best teachers in this district, and I'm sure you'll probably disagree with me. However, my art teachers are so nurturing, and I know you have Mr. Brownell in here, or David as you know him affectionately. They are so open and willing to help me with a question and to show me the things that they do specific to visual arts and help me connect how that fits into my world as a musician. So I've been with them for 6 years now, and the learning never stops, you know. I do recognize what good teaching is. I can recognize good teaching in a math teacher, good teaching in an English teacher. What makes it so unique is the specific content, the visual art side of it. So they've taught me a lot. So ironically, as their supervisor, they're the ones who are teaching me.
So it's bad precedent to tell your guest, Laura, that they're wrong, but we know Synergy has the best list.
See, I had a feeling someone would agree. But
So, no, but what we need to do really quickly now is give them a round of applause.
oh, thank
I think the takeaway is this. I want you to find your Mr. Kelman. I want you to find that adult, hopefully in our building right now, that inspires you, that helps you find your identity. Because every single one of you can and should have a great future. It starts. Quick TV timeout. Okay, for these guys. That's the beauty of this not being a live show. We can just edit that. So I had the big finish. Now I got to start over now. But seriously, here's the bottom line. You guys control your future. We're trying to do everything we can to give you these snapshots into the world of many people in this community who care deeply about your futures. Marilyn Pett, Miss Pett, is one of our board members. She's in this building as much as she can. She doesn't need to be. She doesn't get paid. She could just go to the board meetings and do her job. But she cares about seeing and hearing about your progress. She saw in the email about this, and she wanted to come. She's supposed to be working. Took time off to come in and see this because she believes in you, believes in what's going on in the school across our district. And so know that. With great privilege comes great responsibility. Indeed, that is true. And so take advantage of the opportunities you have here. Grow as a leader. Grow as a student. Figure out what your future is so that you can reach out to us a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and you can be sitting in the hot seat talking to current Synergy students about your experiences, how you turned your life around, how you found a success when you were kind of feeling pretty defeated. So great work. I appreciate all your attentiveness. Ed, do you want a final word, or should we end it?
No, I think, well, I've got to say thank you to you guys for being such great listeners, and thank you for,
Of course.
being able to impart some of your wisdom and great words to our guys here. So thank you very much.
Got everyone to talk except for Melody. That's going to be my chance. I'm gonna
Melody
look
was
for you
listening.
today.
Melody's a very
Do you have
focused.
Mr. Brownell for art?
No, but I know him.
Okay.
One more quick round of applause.
Thank you.
We're going to try to get the phone before it drops again.
Guys,